Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Today we're going to compare two rackets that are new for 2024 and are what I deem could be the most control and maybe the hardest rackets to play with. Stay tuned. Hey guys, do you need help organizing your tennis life? Well, think Go! We got the Axiom line here, the 9-pack duffel, my favorite bag, the 9-pack Axiom 2.0. They even make a 12-pack if you're going on tour. And my favorite backpack of all time. I love that bag. So if you want to organize your tennis life, think Go. All right, so 2024 already has had a lot of new and great tennis rackets already. The two rackets that I've been thinking about a lot have actually been a Dunlop, the CX 200 Tour in the 18x20 95, and the Pure Strike 97. Now, why have I been thinking about these? Well, these two were actually super hard to play with. And what I mean by that is it didn't give us a lot of help when we were playing with them. So I wanted to revisit both of these to see which one has more control, which one was harder to play with. Now, just to go back on some specs here, this racket is 95 square inches on an 18x20. Okay, it's got a constant beam of 20.5 millimeters consistently through this beam. The interesting thing is that it has a flex rating of 66, which I didn't feel, but probably was true because that's what it says. This racket, the Pure Strike 97, is Babolat's softest frame or thinnest frame. 97 square inches, 16 by 20, 21 millimeters, 22 millimeters, 21 millimeters. So this is a little thicker and does have a slightly thicker midsection. So normally you would think because of the beam and the head size that this could be firmer. This could be stiffer. Well, this comes up as about a 63, 64 on the stiffness scale. So that's why I wanted to visit both of these again, because when we were testing these out originally, there was, obviously a lack of power. And I wanted to see, which one would be harder to play with and which one the coaches would prefer to play with, if they would actually want something, harder to play with or something easier to play with, only when comparing these two though. Okay, so let's get on a court and see which one is harder to play with. Stay tuned. All right, so the two newest releases for 2024, these two definitely stood out in my mind. So I got Coach Goo and Coach Chris to determine which of these two are the hardest to play with. Now, we just got off the court trying the CX 200 Tour in the 1820, the former Kevin Anderson endorsed racket, and then the new Strike, Pure Strike 97. Coach Goo, tell me which one's harder and which one you would prefer to play with.
Thank you. I mean, you're not going to give me a shout out that I'm back for a while? God damn.
He's back.
He's back. Sorry, guys. I know it's been too long. So, the hardest version...
Sorry, Jaya.
But I would say the toughest one, in my opinion, would be the Dunlop. The Dunlop, of course, I mean, even though I love its new color scheme and its look, it is pretty hard to play with. I mean, it's an 18 by 20 pattern. It felt great. I lost a lot of ball speed. What I noticed is definitely heavy to swing around. This is the 18 by 20, and it's the tour version, so I believe it's the heaviest one. It does feel like when you're making contact, it does feel like it doesn't really bring all the way through. It feels like the weight's still probably at the throat, and when you're shifting all the way through, you probably get the tail end of the ball. So basically, when the ball leaves, you then feel the racket kind of going all the way through the tip. But playing with it was fun. I mean, it's good, actually surprisingly good feel, but the power, of course, is lacking. My favorite part about the Babolat is, knowing Babolat, they're all known for power. So with this, it was actually super easy to play with. Even though there's a big sweet spot, I felt like you could control the ball a lot more. I think there's more control on this racket versus the regular Pure Strike that is out on the market now too. The 97-inch frame, I barely felt it there. I think it feels like at 100, but maybe due to the sweet spot. But other than that, it is a bit muted when you go up through the head. When you swing through, you feel the throat go, but on contact, there is a bit of a mute feeling, especially if you hit the sweet spot. When you hit the sweet spot, you know you do it, but there's still a little bit of a mute feeling when you make contact of it.
So which one would you play with?
Oh, definitely this one.
Okay.
You mean there's no power on it?
Correct.
There's no
lacking in power.
Yeah, it's lacking in power. I think there's a lot of control.
But you don't need the power.
Oh, well, I know. It's heavy as hell though. But like I said, it does lack a lot of power, and it's an 1820. This is a 1620, so it's a little easier to swing around.
All right. Coach Ching.
Here you go, bud. Have fun. Knock yourself out.
Okay.
Which one is the most control, least powerful, and which one would you use?
So the most control, I would definitely say, is the Dunlop. What Goo was saying was that this one definitely felt like if you made contact with it, it held up against its own, especially for those, I can see why Kevin Anderson would play with this. For those who are, hitting big on the tour, this would be a good one to kind of contain the ball a bit more, and you definitely get that nice control and feel. The Strike, I think it's easily probably the most playable out of all the Strikes in general too as well. But this one felt like I can just pick it up and have easy access to wherever I wanted to do with it. It's much easier to swing with. I think the weight distribution is a little bit better. It's more forgiving too as well. And I definitely think that the beam itself too as well, the thickness of it here on the edges of it, make up for it too. Got nice control as well, but you definitely get a little bit more power with this one compared to the Dunlop. So I would probably choose this one, right, to play with. But if I were to go, what are you doing, man? If I were to go and play with someone on tour, this probably would be a little bit easier to contain because Goo is hitting some good balls out there. This racket would be a better racket to use to control a little bit more of the pace of your opponent. So
you play with someone on tour?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Use Kevin Anderson's racket.
All right. Yes. So definitely, if you're going to swing for the fence, this is a good one. But you got to be swinging for the fence a lot and be on the ball all the time. It is definitely a control racket and will not give you a whole lot of help. I thought this one would have been very comparable to this, but this is a little more powerful, and you can definitely feel that. When you strike the ball, it goes, and it goes with a little more gusto than this. So if you go with this first, this is lacking. If you go with this one first, you're gonna feel the power coming off of this one. All three of us, I noticed, loss of ball speed with this versus this. By, I'm guessing 10 to 20 miles an hour is what I was seeing.
Pretty much. I mean,
For you,
Yeah.
it was probably 60.
Yeah.
Tough.
Yeah, I was only going 10 miles an hour.
so we need
On
to hit
this.
the gym. It looks like
Yeah.
we need to hit the gym.
I'm gonna lift these rackets up a couple thousand times.
Yeah, there you go. Keep going, bud.
All right, so yes, the least powerful racket of the two is definitely the Dunlop, and probably the most control out of all the rackets. I think what I'm gonna do is compare this with the Prestige next, because I know all you guys are asking, well, where's the Prestige? Well, I wanted these two because these are the two new ones of the year and what I believe to be the least powerful of all the rackets so far in 2024. All right. Coach Ching, thank you for doing this test with me. Where can they find you?
You can find me at CB Chen Tennis.
And
That's
it.
It.
Coach Goo, where are you?
You can find me at ag.tennis. I'll also be posting content there as well.
All right. Guys, thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis.